we've been looking at balance and integration and also saying yes to things, but then also working out now that we've said yes, how do we make things work? How do we contract with each other? What do we want out of it? What's important to us? And of course, I've used the example of Spain, where you're thinking, okay, yay, let's go. Of course, I joined Jess on her Spain trip, and so it was also fitting in with her. But of course, we've got the same kind of interests, thank goodness. Otherwise, it would have been some sort of compromise. But you're also seeing as the time went by, what did we learn? We're both very much lifelong learning. What did we learn from it? And so I think lesson number one was very much about, um, what did we want out of it? Just that whole mindful version of it. And the big thing as well is that walking is a way of life. And it was funny for me to notice that it was only when I'd been in Barcelona for a few hours, probably quite a few hours, that it was almost like my brain clicked into chupru, click. Okay. I was also very aware that I'd always been overseas as a business trip. And as a business trip, you arrive at an airport, you catch a taxi, you go to a hotel, you live a very different life to when you're now on holiday. So my brain was still in that, where's the taxi kind of story. And Jess was saying, no, Mom, where's the bus? Where's the walking? It's only kind of story, it's only, yeah. And so it was literally like that first walk out of the airport in Barcelona to our first accommodation. It was hell. It was almost like I can't do this. Why am I doing this? What? Wanting to cry. And like, you look back and you think, okay, ridiculous. But it's because your mind has got to adjust. And so my mind adjusted. It adjusted to walking. And it's funny how once you've reset that, once you've realized walking is a way of life, you can do it. It's not strange. Off we went. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is we decided that upfront Jess would have an eSIM with unlimited data, and I would just be with her, so I wouldn't need data. So I switched off my roaming, I switched off my data. Believe you me, Vodacom and Mondo contacted me every single day, 4, 5, 6 times a day, phoning me to tell me that my roaming was not connected. Well, yes, I know. But that turned out to be not too bright because the very first Barcelona airport, as I mentioned, Jess has got a different passport to me, so different queues. And of course, we said, okay, wait for me on the other side. And I was waiting for her, and she was nowhere to be seen. And then I'm thinking, oh, does she come out here? Is like, oh, okay, no. And so I eventually went down the escalator to go get our luggage. But of course, there'd been something wrong in Jess's queue. And she came out and Mom was gone. Now, of course, there's no way to contact me. There's no way of saying, where are you? And you don't realize how often we phone each other. We phone each other in different social settings to say, hey, where are you? Okay. Well, now you can't phone. You can't WhatsApp. Jess was even thinking about, Mom, does she put a message on my Facebook of saying, where am I? She thought, no, that might cause an international incident of 5 seconds into the trip. She's already lost me. So we found each other eventually when Jess arrived at the luggage carousel. And we thought, oh dear, let's not repeat that. We never did buy data. But anyway, that happened again in Madrid when we were going to the concert. And we were in this long queue with all these young people who were wearing blue and white. And the queue was going nowhere. And we're standing in the boiling sun and we are hot. Okay. I said to Jess, let me pop across the road and I'll go get us water. So what a great idea. Okay. But when I come back, of course, the queue has moved and moved and moved. Now, where's Jess? And it's interesting how that first thing is, okay, breathe. I will find her. You can solve this problem. Do not panic. But you can feel that panic of coming up here. Okay, then I have to get into Jess's brain and think, would she come out the queue? no, she's not going to come out the queue. So she's going to go down. But along the way, there were stairs. And of course, I don't know, my brain defaulted to she would come out at the stairs. But she didn't come out at the stairs. So then I'm thinking, did she come out at the beginning? So now I'm doubting what it is, my decisions. So zoom, back up again, carrying my waters. I've never done so many steps in such a short time of zoom, backwards and forwards. So then ultimately, I then decide, no, she's gone all the way to the end of the queue and she will have come out at the very end of the queue. Now, also taking into account that I had the flat keys, she had um, she had the tickets. So I can't stop an official and say, hey, I'm looking for my daughter. Well, she's wearing, because hello, so are the thousands of other people sitting here or standing here. So that wouldn't have helped. I also can't say to somebody, well, I'm in section C, row 42 and whatever. I can't do that either because I don't have the tickets. And so, long story short, after quite a bit of panic sort of rising of, are we ever going to find each other again? We did find each other. She emerged out of nowhere and said, I've been waiting 20 minutes for you. So, yes. And believe you me, we did not move from each other after that because you need to have your own data. It didn't have to be unlimited data, but it needs to be something because it has to be, hey, where are you? And you can't do that if you've got no connectivity. Something else that was very valid for me as a very independent kind of person, we both are. But there were some things I couldn't do, like I couldn't carry my suitcase up and downstairs. I couldn't, sometimes I needed, when there was no rail, I needed, just the guidance that someone was going to hold my hand. And part of me thinks, oh, just cope. But can you imagine falling downstairs and ending up in hospital? And what both of us kept on saying to each other is we have no intention of working out how our insurance works. Because yes, we did have insurance because you can't leave that. But let's not go see the inside of any hospital in any Spanish city. So there it was, accepting that Jess could, and she did, carry my suitcase up and downstairs. But it's a reminder for me as an independent person that sometimes you've got to ask for help and sometimes you've got to accept help. And you can't just battle along and do it on your own. And can you imagine if I had and fallen, toppled down the stairs and broken all the pieces and ended up in some Spanish hospital? I don't think I'd be too popular. But yes, so that was important to be able to ask for help and accept for help and also realize what is in my wheel of ability and what isn't. Something else that was important for us is we realized that, in the beginning it was, yay, let's go see all the palaces, let's go and see all the architecture, let's go and see all the things. And there it was, we realized towards the end of our trip that no, we've seen enough palaces now. Seeing another palace would not have added to our enjoyment of the first palaces. It wouldn't have enjoyed it, it wouldn't have added, it would have actually subtracted. And so there were times when we agreed together, because Jess and I are both not morning people. We're the type of people who, if we need to be morning, we will be. But then also saying, okay, let's stay up later, like you do in Spain, and we'll sleep in. We won't jump out of bed at 7 o'clock and go run off and do things and be somewhere at 9 o'clock. Sometimes we were only like having breakfast at 9 o'clock. And for us, that was fine. So these are some of the things that we realized, okay, what else do we need to learn? What was also important is the how we embraced, where we were staying or what we were going through. It was also about saying, okay, how do we get the learning out of it? But also, how do we get the laughter out of it? So staying in 7 different cities, and having 7 different showers, we realized that people who design showers don't actually shower. But we have laughed so much over this shower went up onto the ceiling and I managed to, I think, drown the whole bathroom. And Jess just about rolled on the floor laughing at my story of that. And so it's just seeing that in life, things aren't always going to just be perfect. They're not going to be, yay, look at it all just worked out. But there's so many, I mean, we are going to remember the shower forever. I will remember the feeling of not being able to find her in a Barcelona airport or not being able to find her in a Madrid queue going to some um, music concert. I will remember that forever. And so it's about how do you make memories? And yes, that's what we did. We made things that we're going to talk about for ages and ages. So what do you need to go and do to make memories? Think about, reflection is so important. Reflection is so like, yeah, yes, we did it. We did June. We've just done June now. What did you get out of June? What did you learn from June? What are you planning for July? If we do July the same way as we do June, it's just going to be a mirror. What needs to be different? What needs to be tweaked? But a big thing in our lives where we travel too quickly, we don't stop to smell the roses. We don't stop to drink the coffee, to smell the coffee. Take time now in July to stop. Take time now that we're nearly at the end of July to think, okay, what happened in July? Am I going to repeat it in August? Mindfully be part of your life as opposed to just being on autopilot. Please also remember that you're loved, you matter, and you're not alone. And I'm Colleen Quist.